Hello everybody, this is TipTop MTG here today with another Magic the Gathering video. Well, sort of. So there are lots of ways to play Magic the Gathering. As we all probably know, they're just cards and it's how you play them. However, there's even more ways to technically play the game. I mean, you can play it in paper, you can play MTG Arena, you can play Magic Online. There are lots of ways to play. However, there are other ways that don't actually use the rules of the game to play using the characters and IP and concepts of Magic the Gathering. The most recent example of this is Magic Legends, which is kind of like a adventure RPG game, using the characters and kind of system set up by Magic the Gathering. These are what are called third-party games because they're often developed by a third party, meaning not developed by Wizards of the Coast, and instead are created by someone else just licensing the IP. Now, I just want to talk about some of the more recent ones. So the three big kind of failures in third parties come from Magic Legends, Magic ManaStrike, and Duels of the Planeswalkers. But we're going to talk a little bit because that's not exactly true. They're not all failures. And I don't want to say, hey, all of these games failed at being good games. I'm just going to say they were not fun games to me, with Duels of the Planeswalkers being a little bit of an exception, but I kind of want to talk about the downfall of that because it is a little bit different where it is not as much of a third-party game, but more of a secondary game to Magic, even though it used a lot of the same rules. So let's talk just a little bit about these. Starting with Magic ManaStrike. Magic ManaStrike was a mobile game that came out last year that kind of was a style of like Clash Royale where you are a character, or like Star Wars Battle Arena, where you are basically doing 1v1s, playing big spells that can either affect the board or put down creatures that run at your enemy and you're trying to destroy their kind of hub or castle or mana source or whatever it was. And I did a video covering it the day it came out, and I did a review a month later, and I basically said, hey, the game wasn't fun. Flash forward to Magic Legends, I did a review the day, first impressions the day it came out, and then I did a video a month later saying, hey, it wasn't fun. Now, you could say maybe I just didn't like the different genres, but I think the real issue here is that Wizards of the Coast is trying to increase the revenue, which is completely fine. That's what a company is meant to do, but I feel like they're doing it in very boring ways. I mean, I'm not saying Magic Legends is an awful game. I'm just saying that Magic Legends isn't the most inspired thing out there. They are not taking, Magic the Gathering is so great because it's such a unique game and it has its own rules and it's very fun. And yes, Magic Legends has its uniqueness. However, I feel like a lot of the times with these other games, they are really, really focusing on the fact that it's Magic IP, and that's the main appeal. When I look at Magic Legends, I can't imagine many players who don't play Magic the Gathering playing that game. And same thing with Magic ManaStrike. Why would I ever play Magic ManaStrike over any other competition unless I played the game, which inherently limits your audience to people who play Magic and people who would be interested in that style of game and people who want to play on their phone and people looking for another game. So you're already working with a very limited audience. And then you're realizing that your audience, you could have a Marvel game, and yes, you're limiting your audience to people who like Marvel, but you're kind of competing movies and comic books with video games. However, with Magic Legends and Magic ManaStrike, you're taking another game. And so now people have to decide, is this game worth playing the game that I actually love? And the reason I found this other game, is it worth playing that game less? And oftentimes the answer is no, because, well, there are better options out there. And I think Magic Legends is better than Magic ManaStrike. ManaStrike already got shut down, and Legends has its, ability to be interesting, and maybe I will revisit it in, a little bit of time here. But I think that it is definitely really interesting how limited these bases or this things seem to be, and they're not giving it enough of an appeal. I mean, think about how beneficial it would be if they designed a game that used Magic IP but was also very innovative and interesting for other reasons. You'd have Magic players playing because of the IP and finding that they love the gameplay, and you'd have people who just hear about how awesome the gameplay is and then discover all of Magic. But I feel like with a lot of these things, they end up just falling short. So Magic Legends, Magic ManaStrike, they're not rip-offs, but they are heavily inspired by other games, but they don't differentiate themselves enough to warrant people playing them over those games. So the only reason to play is the fact that it's Magic the Gathering, which often can't hold an audience for very long, and is why it got shut down. Now, of course, Magic Legends is a little bit more unique than Magic ManaStrike was. The whole like deck for combat is kind of interesting, and so I do think it definitely has something going for it. But I do not think it was something that I would consider a necessarily success. I did not enjoy the game in the slightest, and of course that could just be me, maybe not my style of game. But I have enjoyed things like Diablo in the past, so it's not like I've never played a game in that kind of genre. But it's a little bit interesting to see, how this game is going to do over the next year. Like, are we going to see it hard crash? Are we not? And I think it will really be a sign of whether these games do need to be more unique or if they can be a little bit more generic and the Magic name is enough to hold it. Now, of course, there are going to be those people that Magic Legends is their introduction to Magic the Gathering. I'm not saying that's not the case, but I feel like they could have just done a little bit more to talk about it. Or to not talk about it, to like make the game interesting to make people talk about it. Either way, I want to next talk about Duels of the Planeswalkers, which is a game that's a little bit older, and it was essentially Magic the Gathering digitally, except you bought expansions for it, similar to like buying a set, and I never necessarily played the game. It got shut down before I had the option to, but I've learned a little bit about it. And essentially, they ended up shutting it down after promising that they were going to keep it around. It was this big, not fiasco, but it was this interesting situation where, it was supposed to stick around for a while, and they abandoned everyone, and then they gave everyone a reward. But what's interesting is that it's kind of third-party-ish, where it's not just playing Magic the Gathering, but it also is just playing Magic the Gathering. It's Magic the Gathering with different rules. It's, you can only have so many creatures. It was very much them trying to take Magic the Gathering and alter it to work on a phone, rather than trying to take the phone and how you typically do things and alter it to make Magic the Gathering work, not worse. Oh my gosh. And so I think that that's where MTG Arena has succeeded. Yes, there may be issues, but they did not try and just change Magic to make them work. They tried to change the client. And I think that honestly, while Duels of the Planeswalkers did get shut down probably because of the development of MTG Arena, I think that it's an interesting look into the fact that it was quite popular, even though it wasn't straight Magic the Gathering, and it shows that there definitely is a market for it. However, it was not able to sustain its kind of health over a long period of time. Now, this video is one I don't expect to do well. It is about not Magic the Gathering. It's one of my videos where I kind of just give my opinion on something, which generally don't do well. So if you've made it through this video, please hit that like button. It encourages me to do more videos like this. But I want to know your guys' opinion. What do you guys think about the state of kind of, third-party Magic games? Are you enjoying Magic Legends? If you are, that's amazing. It just wasn't my thing, and I'm wondering, maybe it's just me. And I want to know your guys' opinion about that in the comments down below. So if you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.